speaking to myself. Hear me? If okay, I can see Hello Amaka. Hello Amaka means you can hear me. So all right. So you can hear me. Going ahead today, we're talking about introduction to Waterfall, and I have on the call with me Rachel. Rachel is the head of products at her company, and she'll be here to walk us through. So, Rachel, if you can hear me, let me know, please, so that.
Yes, I can hear you, Amaka. How are you?
All right. Okay. So, thank you. I'm fine. I'm fine. Good afternoon, probably morning or afternoon your time. Well, thank So now and introduce yourself, and we can get started from there.
Thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Rachel Sutani.
Okay.
I
I
don't.
also mentioned Rachel is the head of product at Mentolast. Rachel,
Yes, I'm the head of product for Mentalist, and then also I lead a couple of teams. So when it comes to product development and product deliverables, I am the face of the consumer and also the face of the management when it comes to actually acquiring and meeting the user needs. Um, I lead a very dynamic team of software developers, designers, marketing executives, and other wide range of skill sets. And so I think in my role is mostly to create that, develop that professional relationship between the actual product development team while managing them and also aligning the teams with the company's product vision and strategies and the business strategies. So generally, I am a lead in that space. So thank you so much, Emaka, for inviting me today. The company that I work for is called Mentalist. Is an education tech company that deals with mentorship and also with educational um, materials that surrounding tech, design, data science, security, and all other dynamic um, products and skill sets that are around tech. So, inviting you just again, if you are interested, you can sign up in our waiting list as we roll out the product. Mentalist.com. I'll share the link on the chat.
All right. Rachel, the screen is up, so you can go ahead.
Okay, so thank you so much for today. And as we were prepared, I was preparing for this class. It was really something that I was looking forward to sharing today. And one of the things that really inspired me to choose a topic for today is how linear our thinking has been around product development and product management. And one of the things that has occurred in the recent past, and actually which is still ongoing, is most companies have resorted to go in the agile way more than the waterfall. And so a lot of people that are coming into product management don't have the skills, don't have the knowledge of the methodology. And so it gives a non-competitive edge to product, meaning that you have only one way of thinking about product management, which should not be the case. So when it comes to understanding waterfall um, waterfall model, it is more of a linear and subsequent life cycle model. So it is a process model. For instance, you can say it is a model that is a bit linear when it comes to its life cycle. Like for instance, we can put an example of developing a payment system, or maybe developing something like a medical equipment that does a certain task. So if you look at the development cycle, the decision that aligned towards developing such a product are very defined, are critically defined at the initial stages, and changes are not really malleable in the process. So meaning it is a bit constrained, and there's need for someone to be really aligned and understand the product before they start developing it. So the needs of the product. So who uses the waterfall model? As I've said, one of the things we have spoken about is developing of medical equipment, or medical software equipment, or software to be used around human beings that are critical for life and stuff like that. So it is mostly used by product teams, and also product and product managers also use the waterfall model to achieve base needs of their businesses. And you can see from my notes, and that I've given examples of where this is used. It's used mostly in construction, because as I said earlier, it's very linear. So if you look at construction, manufacturing, um, IT, software development, hardware, also hardware development, most of these processes have a linear progression, and that's why that's how the project unfolds. So like buildings physical design, there's very little to no changes when it comes to the approved design. So foundation pouring, the foundation pouring, skeletons and stuff like that. So it's in things that are really constrained with change. So we look at the phases, and as a model, there's also phases that are also they're it's called what, the software development life cycle, and so they also has phases. And one of the first phases is called the requirement phase. So this is where potential requirements, deadlines, and also guidelines for the project are analyzed and placed into formal requirement documents, also called functional specification documents. So at this stage, it is one of the vital stage when it comes to waterfall model, because this is where they gather the requirements and uh, shape out what the product is going to be. The next one is the design phase. So the design phase is critically where the technical teams, which maybe the architects in this case, or the UX designers or the technical designers, are are tasked with developing prototypes. So they in this phase there are also two types of they're broken into two types of system designs, which is one high level phase. So the high level is a list of function modules. So this is more of a skeleton base, where you can say this is a high level design phase, where there is diagrams and tables and high level design documents. So after this, we can go to the low level. So after you're done with the high level, now from the high level you develop a low level design. So this one is includes design of actual software. So in this when it comes to UX and also product design, so this is where you do the prototyping. In the low level design, that's where you do the actual design. You can do even shorthand and stuff like shorthand drawings, shorthand designs. So so from this, of if you look at low level design, this is where you actually include interfaces details. So this is like the prototype, the colors, the layers. You list inputs and outputs of the model and stuff like that. So from the design phase, we go to the coding and implementation phase. So this is sometimes called the development phase, where people actually write the code. So in this, there is a source code, which is source code is developed using models and logics. So this is a very significant process because this is where you actually implement the requirements that you have already gathered and the designs that you have already developed from the previous phases. So the code is written in units, in a small programmable fragments called units, which is then integrated into a system. So let us call like as other people can call them features, units, and stuff like that. So this is where the unit testing actually comes from. When after you finish this process, that's where you do the unit testing. So from the coding, we go to testing. This is when quality assurance and unit system and beta testing identify issues. So after developing the code and integrating it into a system, then you have to test it to see if there are issues when it comes to integration, if it comes to the quality and of the output. So once the code is completed, this is what is done, and to identify also errors and defects. So defects, this is in line to maybe hardware project or construction projects, because maybe, for instance, something might have gone wrong that was not seen during the development. So after the testing, now there is operations and the deployment. So this is where the product actually blooms into a full product, and it's something which is actionable, and it is displayed and deployed in the live environment. Um, After that, we do the actually the last phase is the maintenance phase. This is where they do the corrective, adaptive, perfective maintenance in is carried out indefinitely. So this is something that is carried out continuously during the product life cycle, as long as the product is in use. So at this stage is where they send patches of updates for new versions. So if you're currently using a product, probably you already have seen updates being sent. For instance, Windows, they will send patches of updates for drivers and also patches for updates for security features and stuff like that. So as we think about that and the phases, then we have to think about exactly after we have read through that, where is where are they used? Where is this waterfall model used? Where the application of waterfall models? And one of the application is I have mentioned as we started is having on products that have human safety comes first examples, and time and money is a secondary consideration. For instance, what I have said about housing, if the human safety comes first. So the design, structure, and implementation of a structural building has to be really considered before it is approved due to safety reasons and also other consideration like money. So also development of defensive and military aircraft programs use follow the waterfall model, because as I've said, there is little to no change that comes when it comes to a specific model of aircraft or a defense system. Um, Human like stakes and system failure could result into where a human life and a stake of failure system can result into fatalities. So this is maybe in things to do like functions of a submarine, functions of a boat, function of a health system or a health equipment that is used for human health or can result into something. So I've said before, money and time are considered factors, and what matters more is the safety and stability of a project. So these are projects that have already, most of them have very big budgets. For instance, I've said the defense and the military aircraft programs. So also um, projects that are, excuse me, that have a higher degree of oversight or accountability, i.e., the banking health control system for nuclear facilities. So these are processes that are really controlled and a high risk project. Okay, we'll go to the next slide where I'll show a business case. I'll share a waterfall model and you see how it really goes. So there is a business case. So the initial stage is a business case where you identify there is a problem. There's a need for us maybe to have a house and build something, and then you gather the requirements. This is the decision phase, and then you identify the system specifications, and then um, after that, you do the system design, you design the components, you construct the components, which now is the development, and then you test the product, which is you demonstrate and test. So that is just an example of a waterfall model in a chart. So advantages of waterfall model. There are a couple of advantages. One is the simple and easy to understand and use, because it's very linear. It's very simple to use and understand. Is to manage due to the rigidity of the model. Each phase has a specific deliverable and review process. So it's very rigid and so very easy to manage. The phases are processed and completed on time at a time. So each phases, as I've said, is given allocated at a certain amount of time. So it should be completed on time. Works well for smaller projects where requirements are very well understood. So as said, from the initial stage, a user or a product manager or a project manager needs to fully understand the scope of the project from end to finish. It's clearly defined. It has very clearly defined stages. It is well understood. It has a very well understood milestones. It is easy to arrange tasks when you're using this model. Process and results are very well documented. Okay, so this is just a few of the advantages, and I think it's something which those projects that we have mentioned above can really use. So as it has the advantages, it also has disadvantages. And I'll mention a few. So there is no working software produced until the latest stages of the life cycle. Have you seen there's no finished product or even any workable function or testable function that is available in the initial stages until it's finished. So there's nothing you can do, like maybe you cannot do an MVP with this kind. It has to be a finished product. You cannot do like functions and test them on the go. So it has a very high risk and amount of uncertainty. As you've seen, because you're putting everything up to the last minute, you're putting everything to hold the testing, you're putting every function of the product up to the last integration and deployment and testing, then it is a very high risk project model. So it's not a very good model for complex and object oriented uh, projects. So it's not a very good because object oriented projects mostly they will require testing through and through. Poor model for long and ongoing product projects. So this is not suitable for a very long ongoing project. It has to be very timely and short. Um, Also, it's not suitable where the requirements are moderated to high risk changing. So as you've seen, it needs to have very certain requirements and straight to the point. It is difficult to measure progress within stages. So as you've seen, it's very difficult for you to measure changes um, because one, you're not able to identify the risk until maybe the later stage. Cannot accommodate changing requirements because of the fixed nature of how it is laid out. So there is no adjusting of the life cycle until the end of a project. Integration is done in one big bang. So it's done once, and so that's a very high risk. In case things are not compatible or are not working properly, then that's a problem. Okay. Hello. So I think I'll proceed. Sorry, it was an issue. So I'll go to competitive analysis, and I think this is like one of the most important thing that someone has to consider. A product manager or a UX or UI designer has to consider um, before starting any a project, and actually coming up, deriving all the required insights and also like components, defining the components that you require and stuff like that. So what is actually competitive analysis? So competitive analysis is a method of researching your competitors and evaluating their strengths and weaknesses. Someone may ask why. Why is it important? It's aimed at gaining the in-depth knowledge of the market and your competitor strategies in the market. So as long as we are developing products, we have to develop products that are actually needed and actually fit to what the population of the or the users require at that time. So if you don't do a very comprehensive competitive analysis, you might start to actually solve problems that are non-existent, or you might start to solve problems that have already been solved, or
Sorry,
in a
hello,
way
Risha.
that
Can you hear me?
yes, yes.
Okay, I don't know if you are sharing your screen, but we can't see. screen.
Oh, it is. She was sharing my screen. I don't know what happened. I think she dropped off.
Yeah, it dropped. So maybe you can share again so I can add it.
Just a moment. I think she was sharing my screen from the other side. Uh, Let me try and share again. So maybe we can just think through what we have already spoken about. That is, what is the importance of competitive analysis? Um, as we sort out the display issue.
Hello, Rachel. Can you hear me?
Yes, I lost you for a moment. I'm even trying to see if I can share the notes again.
Okay.
Can
I
you
just
able
put
to
it up.
share?
Yes, I can.
Okay, please
I'm
do.
currently sharing. You can go on.
You can put the competitive analysis slide. I think slide number.
Yeah, it's there now at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Okay, sorry for that, guys. So we were talking about the competitive analysis, and I shared it's just researching what your competitors that have similar product or are doing something, solving a similar problem, uh, and looking at what they are providing in terms of cost, in terms of product design, in terms of solution, and seeing what is outside there for you actually to use to your advantage, or also to not to develop a product that is not up to par. So it is a very important stage in UX research journey to do this. So we can go and see what is the importance of competitive analysis in UX design, product management, product design, and stuff like that. So competitive analysis in UX is very important because it helps to guide the design process. So this is to do with things that you can identify very valuable insights of user needs and preference just by doing a very standard UX design. You can also identify like the design trends in the market. For instance, if you're developing a banking system or a banking software, you can see the UI and what the users are familiar with um, in other banking applications that you can borrow to use in your own product. So it also helps you to identify the market gaps. What are the competitors not doing that your product that you're actually developing or thinking of developing will solve or can solve? So in this context, it's very usable in the UX research, and the insights are very important when it comes to the usability, competitive analysis, usability testing. Yeah, so that is very important. So this is why it is used in UX design, because it gives you an insight of what the market wants. So what are the advantages of competitive analysis? So one of the advantages that as a product developer, product design, or a project manager has by doing competitive analysis, one is that they're able to identify the strengths and weaknesses of the webs or application in relation to your competitor. So you're able to put a table down and see what are those things that the product that you want to develop has or has doesn't have in comparison to what your competitors have. Also, you're able to gain a very deep understanding of the market and its users, and also the needs of those users. You're also able to learn the industry trends. As I've said, the trends are very important so that you don't develop a product that is not up to what the market is. You're also able to discover usability issues to fix and the features to improve. So as I've said, you can identify issues that a product of your competitor or your product is not solving, or it's a bug or it's a problem that you're able to solve by just understanding how the market works and what the users needs. So it also helps you to define a course for long-term growth. So in case you're developing an MVP, you're able also to have a long-term goal and say, for instance, in 2 years, maybe our MVP should be able to do this and this from what I have already analyzed from the requirements and from gathering insight from the users. Also, competitive user analysis help us to inform and guide the design process, which is very important to UX designers. Um, in addition, as I've said, identify the market gaps and differentiation and innovations, opportunities that are available for innovation and differentiation between your product and other people in the market. Competitive analysis is in UX research can take the form of expert reviews, where an experienced usability practitioner reviews the design based and the expert's knowledge to usability or competitive and user testing. So it also has where you can put your review as a UX researcher on ways where you can improve. Things to consider when you're doing a competitive analysis. As we said, this is a process. So, what are those things that you should put in mind when you're thinking about conducting a competitive analysis? One should be you should create a short list on the main competitors and criteria to set up and define the research frames. So, for instance, right now, you can have a long list of competitors and say, for instance, I'm developing a banking app. I will have Barclays, I will have National Bank, I will have Bank of India, and stuff like that. But then, if you narrow it down to what you have, what you're solving, and maybe your market cluster, your budgets and stuff like that, you can narrow it down to a few of the people, a few of the product or companies that you want to base your research on. So also you need to add the product you design to the list to compare with the competitive solution. So yes, you've already narrowed down Bank of India application, maybe Barclays, Kenya Barclays Bank, your KCB, you've gone to Cooperative Bank. So also you need to put your product in that columns in the tables and compare your product with other products or solutions. You need to also to apply good practice. So this is UX good practice when you're measuring and also when you're comparing and identifying those issues that are good in this product that are not good in this product, and weigh them according to what the usability is giving, what the user is actually saying about them. So you have to put in mind the direct competitors. So yes, you researching about banking applications, but who are your direct competitors? Maybe you're focused in banking in SMEs. So you need to identify that niche that is very specific to you. Banking in SMEs, maybe banking in corporate, maybe banking in forex and maybe money market and stuff. You need to identify your direct competitors. You need to be inspired by your competitors. So this is one of the things that one of the goals that you need to go with when you're looking at competitive analysis. What are your users? What are the users of other competitors doing, or what is your competitor doing when in regards to UX designs that are helping to solve users and business goals? So first identify those things that you look up to. Maybe if you look up to integration of mobile to banking, maybe integration of payment system. So those kind of things, the use UX design and usability designs aspect of your competitors should inspire you to create a better product. So UX analysis steps. These are the steps that you should take when you're doing UX analysis. So you can go to the next slide. So you need to set your goals and adhere to them. So you need to develop goals that are measurable and accessible. They're very specific to the needs. And so you need to set goals that you can adhere to when it comes to the competitive analysis. The next step, you need to build a competitor shortlist, which you've already spoken above, things to put in mind. So you can do a shortlist of 2 to 5 companies that are providing the same solution as what you're providing or are building the same product. You need to explore similarity between your competitors. So this is one thing that is very important, is for you to identify the similarities so that you also know what the users are looking for. So this is check yourself. You're required to they use UI usability principles. For instance, if a feature requires the product has features of tone, voice, page loading time, user interface, even functions. For instance, if maybe all the banking applications have a mobile interface connectivity, maybe they have a payment system. You need to see if all of them have that as their main criteria of usability needs, so that also your product doesn't lack that as the basis. So you also need to explore the UI usability principles and examine what the computer products are missing, as well as looking at what they have in common. You have also to look at what are those features, maybe the tone, the page loading time, the user experience, the user interface, what is similar, or what is it, what is, and also what is not similar, or what is lacking between your competitors. You need to create a feature comparison chart. This is one of the things that I've mentioned. You need to have a table or a chart that has the features that are in all your competitors, and see and compare and contrast between competitors, your product and other products, what is similar and what is not similar. So you can see like examples of features, maybe UI design, sorting, how are the cards arranged, filtering, how maybe if they have a search engine within themselves, if they have a search function, how does it work, or what are the things that users are looking for to filter when it comes to searching through their product, what is the loading time, how is their responsiveness when it comes to the user interface and user experience. So things like that. Also, you can also add pricing, yeah, as also one of the parameters to consider. So this is an example of a banking checking account. So this is you can share the slide with the image. So we already mentioned the things that we can look for in comparison of products. So you can have, maybe I've mentioned banking, and maybe you can have a product in banking, and maybe you're developing a checking accounts option. So what is bank A is providing this and this, bank B is providing this, bank C is providing this and this. And what are those things that they are lacking when it comes to feature availability? So also you can put your product here to compare. You can also put the monthly charges. Maybe yours doesn't have, maybe others have, and you see what is common within the banking application or banking solution that you're currently developing. So that's just an example. So also something else to consider is you need to compare your product to your competitors. Put your product in that chart as well, and do the comparison when it comes to how your product is standing out amongst other players. What is that thing? What is that selling point that it has in comparison to other products? So um, I'll share with you a chart. Um, I lost Emeka. Don't know what's happening with her machine, but then let us just give her a moment. So as I've said, you need to put your product also in line with other products and see what competitive advantage you can bring out that will be the selling point for your product. So as we have mentioned, if you're doing, for instance, the banking checking accounts, also you need to put your product there and see among us all these other banks with the similar product of banking checking accounts, what is yours going to stand out with? What are the things that it's going to sell that other competitors that you're having cannot really sell? What are those things that your competitors' product are lacking that yours can utilize to stand out? So I don't know why she has dropped out. Is someone else able to share the slides? Anyone who is able to share the slides again? Amaka,
Um, yeah, I'm back.
your connectivity seems to be a bit down.
The slide is up now. Sorry about that. My network is a bit shaky, but I'm back now.
Yeah, fine. So I was talking about comparing products and what the product features are available and what they can provide. And this is an example of what I was talking about. Putting your product there, and as you've seen, our product is one of the things that it's actually the first one. the strength, the weakness, the pricing, the social media, the onboarding experience. So, and then these are other ones are competitor one, two, three, and four. So, what is your product giving, and what are the competitors giving? Okay, so we go to the next slide. Are you able to put the full screen for me?
The first screen.
You put it on a full screen.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. All right. So let me
Um.
come. Give me.
So as
So
we have
this is it.
already seen, we can go to the next slide, which is analyzing your findings. So yes, you have already analyzed what we have already put in a table. Our product, the strength, the weakness, the pricing, the features, the experience, and our competitors as well. And so, how do we analyze what we have found in order to get valuable insights? So you have to conduct a very thorough research, and uh, and it will give you ideas on how you can compare your UX design. So as you have a prototype, maybe you can compare your UX design to what other people have, and you'll know your competitor's strength, weakness, and imagine what your design opportunities you have to speak your voice, your own voice. Like, how are you going to stand out? Also, so present your UX competitive analysis. So this is also something that people sometimes are afraid to do. Presenting your findings and research and insights from a usability research uh, through a slide deck or with main pointers. For instance, you do a slide deck and say, maybe this is my finding from usability research on consumer products, maybe lotion consumer products, and how design aspect of the bottling or maybe design aspect of the color affects this and this product, and how our products can be developed using better things. So you do that competitive analysis presentation, and you present your action plan and the research and the purpose of that research. So as we've spoken about this competitive analysis, it all boils down to research methods. And as we've seen, we all these processes, the main thing is the research. So what are the research methods that we can use in order to get the valuable insights and the most important things that we want to get from the market? So one of the things that is very common for most of people that are doing product research, it's SWOT analysis. So this is where you research, you lay down your strengths, your weakness, the opportunities that are presentable or are available, and the threats that are available. So in this process of product design, you're also able to know the business objective behind the features is also something very important. So if you're looking about maybe bringing in maybe biometric biometric integration and verification, then you need to understand what are the strengths that maybe this feature, maybe the biometric integration of in this application is going to bring. What are the strengths that it will bring to the product? What are the weaknesses that this feature is also bringing to the product? What are the opportunities that also this feature will bring to the product, and what are the threats, what are the risks that this added feature or this function is going to bring? So I think most of us have already interacted with SWOT analysis when it comes to anyone who has done anything to do with project management or product management. So you need to understand the business context and of the company or the product. So you need to understand like what are the goals of the business when it comes to this product. You need also to identify the gaps in the market and the potential problem to solve. So what are those gaps that your competitors have not identified that you can solve with your product? Um, Also, you need to uncover the market trends. This is very important. You need to identify the market trends that are available for the products. You need to understand your company internal weaknesses and external threats and how to turn them around into opportunities. So, what are those weaknesses that you have or the threats that are available, and how can you use them to your advantage to solve problems or uh, to solve a user issue? So I'll just share a table of you of the SWOT analysis, just a general how generally SWOT analysis is thought through. Understanding your strength, that is the SWOT, the S, and then weakness also is W, and this. These are just general interpretation. It's something that is used in very many contexts of project management. Okay, I'll go to the next research method. This is a Potter's method. This mostly is used when someone wants to see how the market forces will affect a product, the competition, the market, the buyers, the suppliers. How much does the buyer want to spend or can spend on a product or a solution? How much can suppliers spend in order to supply you with a solution or a substitute? How much are the substitute when it comes to different product? For instance, if you have a banking product, what are your substitutes that are available in the market? In case we bring a product, what are those substitutes and how much do they cost? What is the how are the buyers capable of spending? What is their spending strengths? What do they do and stuff like that? So this one dedicate the buyers and the suppliers, also the new entrants can dedicate the rules and change your product and the market. For instance, if you're developing a consumable product, for instance, bread, and you look at the market which you're going to supply the product, and then you look at how much they're earning, and you look at what are the available substitutes that the same similar bread is going to have in the market, and what are the things that can change that will affect that product. Maybe the rules governing supply chain, food control, food policies, maybe grain, maybe importation and stuff like that. So it is something, an analysis method, a research method that is based on the people that influence the market, the product market. So this is a table demonstrating what it really looks like. So the Potter's 5 forces, one of them is competitive rivalry, threat of new entrants, bargaining power of the customer. This is mostly to do with the disposable income and the amount of money they're willing to spend on a product. Bargaining power of the supplier, how much are they able to bargain in order to supply you with the product, maybe at a substantial rate. What are the threats of substitute products? If maybe you developing bread and not everyone eats bread, maybe some people would prefer to have something else, maybe cakes, maybe biscuits, maybe cookies and stuff like that. So is that general? Can go to the next slide. So that is the Potter's 5 forces. This is what defines the research. That is where the research is based. So so the last research method is perceptual mapping. So what is the perception of the people that are using? What is the this is mostly used by marketers when they're doing research to understand mostly the consumer, the customers' views about their brands, about their products, and mostly is how they are positioned. For instance, if you're developing a product, maybe a transport and logistic taxi product, maybe you want to develop something like Bolt or Uber or Little Cab or all these other ones. So you have to put um, your product in a map where you're able to define where it lies as a brand in positioning the, and how the consumer view it. So you're able to align it together with other people that are developing the product or people have similar product to see how you can shape your marketing strategy. So this is just to it is just a market strategy you can choose to develop along with the kind of customer profile that you are targeting. For instance, if you have a consumable product that you're targeting and you're able to just have that market strategy and go to market strategy that you are aligned with what your customer needs. Okay, so only piloting the product would help you to validate the hypothesis before a perfect fit can be found. So if you're piloting a product or a change in a product, you can help to cement maybe your hypothesis. If maybe you're piloting taxi application, you can ferment your hypothesis by doing a perceptual mapping where you get a perception of what consumers are saying about your product comparison to what is available in the market. So you can go to the next slide. Um, so we've already spoken about perceptual mapping. This is just mapping the perception of users and consumers and customers about products, your product, and positioning of a product comparison to others. So the last slide is an example of how a perceptual map looks like. So you can go to the last slide, and this is just maybe this can be used. Maybe we say we are having a yogurt product, and we have these parameters. The first one is more tasty, and then there is more neutral, less stress-free, and less neutral. So you have a couple of brands that are producing or a couple of products that are similar to your product, and this is how the perception of the users are. So this one, like you can see, product B is considered a more tasty or a less neutral. It is in the middle. So how does your brand vary? You can even put like maybe expensive, less expensive, cheap, less cheap. You can put different parameters when you're comparing, depending on what your product is aimed to achieve. So this is the mapping. This is how the users have defined this product. So you can put your product, for instance, if your product is product A, you're able to see where it is positioned. So I think from generally just from what we have learned today is that waterfall model is a useful model when it comes to things that are fixed in throughput and maybe the outcomes. And this maybe we'll just talk about it. For instance, if you have designed a house, an apartment building, you cannot start maybe it's called the outer shell of the building. You cannot start changing it midway, or maybe decide to add more floors, and maybe that was not considered in the foundation. So something similar to that. So things that are really linear when it comes to their development process and the output. So I think at this moment I will just be open to questions, and maybe something anyone who has a question can pop in and ask. Thank you so much for listening to me. Uh, Thank you, Amaka. Maybe you can tell me, you can share with me the questions that have been asked. I can see something from Duru. Please, do you have a template that you can share for SWOT analysis? Well, I don't think I have a template, but I can share it maybe later on the broadcast on the YouTube channel where this one will be posted. But I think um, it's more of a general application. So, Ameka, are you speaking? I can't hear you. Ameka, is there a question?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, you've answered that. I think this one is not really a question.
Mm.
Okay, it's not really a question. It's more like a compliment.
Oh, thank you so much,
So, guys, if you have any
Anita.
questions, please go ahead and drop them in the chat so that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Anita. I think it's not the only way. It only depends. As I was sharing another time, in a product management group, and I was sharing about having this session. Most of the people are like, "Why are you going to teach about agile and then not agile, waterfall?" And everyone is going towards agile. And I just shared my perception about it all. I was like, you need to have equipped to do product management with other methodology in case of any change. There is always change when it comes to product development, software engineering, and the all aspect of products. And so you have to have that added advantage when it comes to you having knowledge that is going to help you in such and such scenarios. For instance, if right now you're given to develop a medical solution or a robotic solution that will be used in a medical system, you need to know that it is a very critical system that has life and death. If you have no room for you to do mistakes, so every parameter is very controlled. So yeah, so it's something that it's not spoken so much about. Agile is very much promoted, and it's very okay, but then you need to also have knowledge of other frameworks of doing things. And also it will make you very informed when you're doing decision as well. Maybe there are processes that you can also incorporate it in waterfall in agile. When it comes to a specific process, maybe you want the design process to take a certain time, and maybe to have these phases that you'll create and very linear. So yeah, any other question?
No, I think those are all. That's everything. There are no other questions. So thank you so
Mm,
much, Rachel, for this session. Thank you. We learned a lot. And guys, remember
mm,
you can always rewatch these videos on YouTube. I drop
mhm.
some Rachel's LinkedIn handle on the chat, so you can do well to follow. I also dropped the mentor last link as well in the chat, so do well to follow and communicate. So thank you once again, Rachel. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for doing
Thank you
this.
so much for everyone. And thank you so much also for inviting me and also for everyone that joined. I'm available to link up in LinkedIn. We can have conversation around product, quality assurance, and also product design. I'm very interested in also security. If there is anyone in this as developing security products, education products, I'm also interested to linking up. So thank you so much, and have a really good afternoon for those in East Africa. Is it
All
afternoon? It's
right.
already evening.
Well, it's afternoon our time here. This is just fast one, 1:11 p.m.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rachel. All right, bye everyone. Have a lovely day ahead
Okay,
or
bye.
night, whatever the case may be.
Thank you.
All right.